Yes, yum, yum. Well, cheers to Mother's Day and to Friday.
That will help me cook very much.
Very much so. This is our 2017 Blanc de Noirs Sparkling. But really the most important thing is we want to toast to Mother's Day, to mothers everywhere, wives, sisters, daughters, our very special mother-daughter relationship.
Look, Mom. See, it's a little heart that says Mom that Christina gave me when she was this tall.
And to your mother, my grandmother, who's no longer with us, and Mom's aunt, Tia Oriola, who is the source of our fantastic lemon tart recipe today.
Yeah, it's called lemon tart Oriola, except that she was always called Cookie. She was Tia Cookie.
And I swear, I literally thought that Tia Cookie meant something about like cookies until very recently. Apparently, cookie in Spanish, C-U-Q-U-I, means cute. But I thought, oh yeah, it's Aunt Cookie.
So she was my mother's only sibling, and they got along famously. And they were so different. My aunt, I have that picture.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if I can show it. So this is a family picture of a New Year's Eve.
And Tia Cookie, she's on the right, but the far right is Abuelita, my grandmother, and then Tia Cookie is just inside of.
And then her husband and myself. And she was so different from my mother. She loved music. And, well, you know what? We should start the recipe.
Let's start the recipe. Yes,
I'll tell you stories afterwards.
This is Tia Oriola's Tarta de Limón.
Yeah. And the crust, what I've done, I've used a different crust, which I learned in a 3-star Michelin restaurant called Aquelarre in northern Spain, in San Sebastian. And actually, it's a restaurant that I'm going to be having lunch at on June 17th, 2021.
Hey.
Because we're going there on a trip that I've organized for our wine club members to the northern wine regions of Spain, where we have also our winery, the Torres family. And we already have made the reservation. Well, we had it for this year, but we had to, of course, replan it for next year.
It's moved back to next year.
So the crust is really easy to make. And it's here we have half a cup of almonds, which have been
food ground in the food processor.
Yes, and then we're going to add here 7 tablespoons of butter at room temperature. Actually, this is kind of melting because it's been so hot today.
It is very warm today. Yeah. Here in the Bay Area, we've got a bit of a heat wave going on.
Yeah, and rain next week. And then we're going to put a cup and a half of flour. Is that it? 1 cup and a half?
Yep.
Okay, great. Flour and
the recipes, the link to the recipe is in the sidebar of the video if you're watching on Facebook, as well as the link to the wine, our Blanc de Noirs.
And 2 tablespoons of sugar. So it all goes together. And now we're going to do a little whirling. So let's see, what are we going to talk about now?
Okay, well, I don't think I can talk over the food processor.
Okay. It takes a minute. Okay, and then we take it out of here. It's gonna, it really needs to be more.
Just bear with us.
Yes.
Bear with us.
So that there's no lumps of butter. So
have a few sips. I sure hope you've opened up a bottle of wine and are enjoying a glass with us.
Yeah. So imagine that this is now totally smooth, and so we take it from here to this pan. It's
Okay, it didn't break.
No.
It didn't break.
All right. I chose one that has the bottom like this, and you see it, and it's kind of like spring form. Thank you so much. Okay, so imagine that we put it here, and it's done, and
then it goes in the oven
at 350.
Yep,
and then that's what it looks like. So what I do is that I put it with and
then you put it into the pan. You kind of like smush it in, right?
Yeah, and I put a aluminum foil and stones or weights. Okay, and then when I
pie stones, aren't they pie stones? Pie
yeah,
weights?
something like that. Pie weights, exactly. And then when it's gotten nice and this is, and then we take the pie stones out, and then I put these on the side so that the top of the thingy is not gonna burn. Okay, so this is what the crust looks like.
The aluminum foil is so that it doesn't burn.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's right. Because you want this to be really nice and brown.
We'll need a scientific explanation for that if anyone.
And so I would say make the sides very thick, and this very thin, and also the sides here very thin, but this thick so that it doesn't burn, right? Because this is what tends to burn most. And so this is where we're going to put our mixture of this.
And do please ask questions as we go along. If you're cooking with us or planning to cook this recipe, and also let us know what you're drinking. If you've opened up that bubbly, or what are you drinking to?
Oh, that makes you cook so much better. Wow. And
well, this pastry is very tasty and very easy. Really, this recipe is all pantry staples, and then almonds, lemons, and condensed milk, which some might consider pantry staples.
And that's why it's so homey, and because condensed milk is something that was used in Spain a lot after, when I was little, Spain was a poor country, after the Civil War. And so fresh milk, we couldn't afford it. So I remember having a lot of condensed milk. When I was in my internado, boarding school, I didn't like it at all. And then
it sounded like a pretty terrible place.
Yeah, and I used to have condensed milk instead of butter, because butter was much more expensive. And boy, did I gain weight. Anyway, so this is for...
kind of like us during quarantine.
Exactly, yes. 4 egg yolks, right? We're going to put them here. I separated them just before this. And we're going to put the condensed milk here.
Okay.
And then the...
Yeah, you don't cook much with condensed milk.
No.
This is really the exception. And I remember Tia Oriola, well, Tia Cookie, I remember just loving going over to her house. She was so close with my grandmother. They were so different. They were so opposite, and yet they were so close. My grandmother was much more stoic and kind of regal, and Tia Cookie was super warm. And I remember going over to her house, and she made this phenomenal gnocchi. And and I remember that was, I think, like the first time I really remember trying gnocchi. And she loved music, and she was a woman of very different from Abuelita, but they were so close that when my grandmother passed, she was age 93. And when my grandmother passed, Tia Cookie, well, she passed less than a year later.
Yeah, they were so close. But I'll tell you, because you said that she loved music, she used to play the violin. She was a great violin player.
Oh, yeah.
And she was betrothed to a guy who was very rich. She was very pretty. She was really beautiful. And so he was very rich, and they had already sent out the invitations for the wedding and such. And apparently she was playing the violin one day, and he just had enough of the violin, and he threw it out the window. And and she, of course, not of course, but she did cancel the wedding. And then she
just couldn't have it. She couldn't have it
with this guy.
I love my music. If he doesn't appreciate my music,
and the rest of the family was like, really? That guy is really wealthy. No way. And then she ended up marrying a guy who really didn't have much money. He was a Tio Gassi. He was Polish, and he was a really nice easygoing guy. And they loved each other so much. And they.
I didn't get to meet him. But.
That's right. He died a little earlier, but he was just different. But and she cooked so well, and she really would gain him with the cooking because he loved to eat.
I think any man or woman knows that the way to someone's heart can often be through cooking.
Okay, continuing on, then I'm adding the lemon zest of 2 tablespoons, right? I think, or 1 tablespoon. 1 tablespoon. of lemon zest, okay? And I've used our own lemon, Meyer lemons from the garden, which are so aromatic. They're wonderful.
Yeah, so why do you, I know you really prefer Meyer lemons over any others. Why are Meyer lemons?
Because, can you smell it?
Yeah, that's true.
It's just, it smells
They're super aromatic, super perfumed.
Very fragrant, yeah. And then we put some lemon juice. So you see, if this was milk instead of condensed milk, it would curdle. So we're gonna now put the lemon juice. Oh, and by the way, of course, the eggs are from our own chickens.
Yes, and lemons from our property as well.
Yeah, and we're gonna mix that. That thing.
Okay.
And there you go. We are going to mix it here. Can you hear it anyway? Okay, I'm gonna move over here, and you can talk about the wine.
Okay. Yes. So a few more words about our sparkling. This is our 2017 Blanc de Noir, our first ever vintage of sparkling, and this is a 100% Pinot Noir from our Sonoma Coast vineyard, from the Doña Margarita vineyard, named after my grandmother. And so, yeah, we just launched it last year, and it is it's made in the traditional champagne method. So that means that you have a second fermentation in the bottle, in the champagne bottle, and so that means that then the wine lies on its side, and the yeast, the dead yeast from fermentation, coat the bottom, and they break down over time. And this breakdown really adds more complexity, more flavors to the wine. This is really a more involved, more expensive method of production. The champagne is made that way.
But how do they get the bubbles?
Well, the bubbles, because after that second fermentation in the bottle, the bubbles, the CO2 that is released from fermentation, from turning sugar into alcohol, is trapped in the bottle. And so thus we have the bubbles. And well, I could go on and on about disgorgement and dosage, but I will say that we add, when we disgorge, we add a little bit of sugar back in to top up the wine as well. It's just 8 grams per liter, which makes it in the category of a brut.
And the reason is that the grapes for a champagne or for bubbly are the best, are picked very early, so they're very acidic. So you really, if you didn't add some sugar, the wine would be too acidic. So that's why it is added.
Yep.
Okay, let me now.
Back to the recipe.
So now now that it's all mixed, we add a little milk, but not at the beginning, so it wouldn't come out. And then
because of the acid of the lemon.
Exactly. Cups. Run. This is gonna be just a minute.
Good thing we've got our MARIMAR'S state aprons on.
Yeah, you're right. And now we're going to come
so there may be some in the hair, some little lemon bits in the hair.
Some fun part, I've whipped, can you see if this is egg whites?
Egg whites. I remember being so scared. Yeah, it needs a little
because see what happens with egg whites is you can beat them ahead of time, but then some of the liquid from the egg white, will go to the bottom. And of course, these have to be totally clean to beat it right. So I'm gonna clean this up while you talk about it.
And I remember when I was little, because the way to tell if egg whites are ready is if they've been beaten to stiffness, is to test it by turning the bowl over, which I always found so scary because you have the impression that it's just all gonna fall out of the bowl. It's just a very normal thing.
Yeah, I thought, how could I do that without having to do this? There's no way, because I only have one of these guys. Okay, and I think okay, and okay, we're done. Practically. And then we're going to do the folding, which is so much fun.
There we go.
Okay, so now, oh yes, thank you. So we're gonna.
Good thing we make a good team.
Yeah. okay. Nothing happened.
And why do you use a copper? Why copper?
I don't know why, but it's supposed to. You're supposed to. I mean, I do it because you're supposed to.
Oh,
I mean, why?
I don't think that was the
So you see, you
explanation
can
you
do
were
that,
looking for.
and nothing happens. So
Oh,
now we're gonna
just
put
like
this
that.
here.
Okay, and folding is so
Fold.
important in baking to maintain the fluffiness, right?
Exactly.
And when whenever you've got flour, especially, right?
Exactly. Yes, or anything. Yes. So I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna fold it inside.
And why don't you explain like the folding technique?
Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna show it in real life.
Okay.
The way this goes is that we're going to go like this, and actually, it's better to put the whites and do this right away, because now you see it's not as fluffy as it was before, but it will be just fine. So essentially what you want is to mix it with air, let the air in. So you go with a spatula and you go through the middle, down the middle, and then you go 1/4 of a turn, okay? And again, 1/4 of a turn. And then you have to see this ribbon, right? Here, I'll show you. There's a ribbon here, right? This is not easy, but we'll do it. And essentially until it's all mixed, but not mixed like you would, beating, right? And see the ribbon. Now you can see it. So,
and just until it's barely mixed, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, this bubbly. I love this wine. It is so nice that we now always have a sparkling on hand, especially now for Mother's Day. And
I have another story about my mother. My mother, Christina, was what? How old were you when she died?
I was like 11.
Yeah, right. And of course, Christina was the youngest of all her grandchildren, so she loved her so dearly. And my mother was a very generous person. She was really a grand lady, but she was extremely generous, and she loved to take Christina shopping. And
I do remember that.
My mother was kind of quite authoritarian. I mean, she had her opinions. And so I remember going to the shop and the kids shop and getting some jeans, right? And Christina
Patinete in Barcelona, we would always go.
That's right. And Christina would want the blue ones, and my mother would want the black ones, and I just tried to get in the middle. It's okay, it's blue, and finally we ended up getting the blue ones and the black ones, right? So it was easy. Right?
And you were just tormented.
Oh God! At night I came in. I had to have a. I wish I had had that one. Okay, so now we're going to put this into the prepared crust, right? Yes, thank you. And. Yeah, my mother and my father were just such unique individuals.
And what are you all doing for Mother's Day? This is quite an unusual Mother's Day, of course, but we hope you are celebrating somehow, some way, whether it is in person or with Zoom or Skype celebrations. Oh boy.
Just a little bit. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Oopsie.
Yum. Yum, yum.
So let's see if you can see what it looks like. Okay. Ooh, I don't want to do more because it will get out of the crust. But okay, so now it's going in the oven. The oven is prepared to 350, right? And it's going in the oven. While I pour myself a little more of this lovely wine, which my mother didn't get to taste. My mother had a very delicate stomach, and she couldn't drink white wine, except for my white wine. And she said, that's the only one that I can digest, right? I promise. And if she only had tasted this.
Well, shall we, just like magic, pull out the tart that's done?
Absolutely.
All right. Just like magic, we put it in the oven.
And out it comes.
Ta-da!
Self-decorated with some fruits. I think that berries really go very well with this. And I add a little cream. I have a little cream here.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to get these.
Oh, I see my glass magically refilled.
Well, that was not very nice.
This is such a fresh, nice, crisp. I'm getting strawberry, and some riper fruit as well. Some of that pastry from the Lee's contact. Let's try it with the lemon tart.
It will go very well.
Yes.
But let me tell you, so while this is in the oven, you will see that it
expands.
Yeah, it goes
puffs up.
Thank you so much. And then also that it parts in the middle, but don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. And then if you think that this is getting too, I never put it at the top of the oven because you don't want to burn the filling. And yeah, so then I put in the second tray of the oven, and then if you see that it gets burnt, I put up foil on top of the first rack.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
Well, I want to raise a toast to my mom for this Mother's Day. She is surely the ultimate role model, and she is, well, I for those of you who know my mom, she works hard, she loves her work, and she will stop at nothing to get what she wants and what she thinks is right, and has a tremendously generous heart, helping those friends who are in need. And I want to share a story of how you overheard, this is something I hear, that Mom overheard when I was like 10 years old or something. I would get asked all the time, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you overheard me say, oh, I want to go into the wine business and carry on winery. Yeah, and Mom was just so surprised because she couldn't believe that I would want.
Yeah, because I thought that I was such a bad role model. I mean, I was working because I love my job, I love my work, and I thought, oh, she'll never want to join me. You know? Good job, here we are.
And here we are, and I finally joined the business just as of January of this year, and it's really exciting to be together and working together, which we've been working for so long.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Well,
okay,
now some lemon tart.
Exactly.
Yum.
This is so much fun. It's going to be so long until next Friday. Okay. That should be really good.
It's fluffy like a souffle. Yeah, you get the lemon, really the floral aromatics of the Meyer lemon.
And the almond crust.
It's perfect.
So yeah.
And how about with the bubbly?
Let me tell you, in Spain, when I was little, when I lived in Spain, bubbly was never had as an aperitif. It was always had with dessert. And you can see why. It really goes very well.
It really does.
And
it really does.
This country, I remember I was in, 18 or 19, and I remember going first to Southern California, to Beverly Hills, and having as an aperitif a glass of bubbly with a strawberry inside. And I thought, first of all, never as an aperitif, it has strawberry inside.
That's sacrilege.
No sacrilege, but it was pretty good. So have you heard about cavas from Spain? The word cava means actually sir. And I remember when I was writing my first book, The Spanish Table, that I met Mr. Raventos, who started Codorniu, which, in California.
Very well respected.
Gloria Ferrer, the own Gloria Ferrer. And he was wonderful. And he said to me that he had come up with an idea to call the sparkling wines produced in that region of Catalonia cavas. And I said, but, cava, you mean a cava wine, right? No, it's going to be a cava. And I thought, that cannot work. Boy, today, everybody thinks of Spanish bubbly as cava, even though it's an appellation of origin, and some bubblies are produced
like champagne also.
Exactly.
And Prosecco.
Yeah, so that was his idea. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, we toast to you all. Hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day weekend, and that you pop open some bubbly. This is our 2017 Blanc de Noir, and you have the recipe for the lemon tart and the wine in the sidebar. So get your bubbly. And we also have a very special, as a reward for making it to the end of the video, there is a free shipping offer going on through Sunday, 11:59 p.m. So enter code Mother's Day in all capitals. Go to MARIMAR'Estate.com and buy your wine.
And it's worth it. I promise you will not regret buying a lot of our wines. I love to sell wine.
And join us next week, next Friday, for beet soup with creme fraiche, a nice bright spring dish paired with our Acero Chardonnay and our Bonitas Hill Chardonnay. So cheers, have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. I've had the glasses by now.